In this video, one of our Avocademy mentors, Bianca, is going to be showing you 8 Figma plugins that you should be using if you are just starting out. Before we jump into the tutorial, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to book a call with one of our Avocademy mentors, look at the description as the link will be found there. Let's jump into the tutorial.
I'm going to go ahead and get started on talking about some of these starter plugins to think about when utilizing Figma. And so let's just get into it. Now, first thing I want to touch on are what are plugins, just in case anybody is wanting to know more about that. So plugins are kind of like the extension of Figma, like they're ways that you can just kind of be more effective in Figma, taking little steps out of it, and that way it can just make your process a little bit more faster. So yeah, that's what plugins are, or at least how I define them. Let me talk about where you can find said plugins. Now, I have the plugins on the screen that we're going to go through, but just in case you are looking into plugins and wanting to look into other ones and not necessarily knowing where to find them, let's talk about that first. So when you're in your file, one of the cool things that Figma added a while back now was this little area here where you can go ahead and search for plugins right on your document. So you're able to search for it here up top, and then they'll have like some pinned where you can look through the community and see other plugins that you may want to utilize. And then you can also click down here to browse some more. Let me actually go ahead and scroll down. And this is where you can kind of look to see some of the plugins that they have pinned here. You can filter through it. So right now it's on plugins because I went through the source that I went through. And then you can filter through as far as like if you want it to be paid or free. And then I'll go ahead and look through and see if there's anything that's helpful. Like this one right here is pretty cool. Translator, being able to translate into different languages. So things like that, you're able to go ahead and scroll through, and then you can try them out. And they'll be connected to your Figma document. So now that we got that out of the way, let's just go one by one through these plugins, and let's just get started. So the first one is contrast. I have everything organized right here so you can see where I'm at and what I'm doing. But when it comes to contrast, it's just really good to be able to, look at the standards and make sure you're kind of hitting the mark on some things. And so that's where contrast comes into play. When you're trying to bring up a plugin on your document, a good way to go about it would be to right click on your mouse, and then you'll have this area where it's plugins, and then you'll have the list of the plugins that you've already ran. But say if you want to come from up here as well, you can do that. So if I wanted to go to contrast, I could run it and it'll pop up. And then doing that, here is my little menu area that's going to pop up for contrast, and it's going to give me 2 areas. This area is the select area, where based off of what I select, it'll let me know the contrast ratio, the AA, the AAA, and if I'm hitting that standard. So say for this one here, I've already brought in some buttons. It's giving me the text coloring and then the button colors as well, and then if I am passing that contrast. And so as we see right here, it's all green flying colors, which is awesome. Same thing with other buttons as well. If I click on this one, I am able to see that this one is failing. The whites on this light orange is just not meeting a good standard here. So all of that is failing. But if I take that same color and switch my text colors, we can see that I am now passing. So that's why this is pretty good as far as a plugin, just to make sure you're double checking your contrast. Another way to utilize that plugin is to scan. So you can actually scan the all the layers in your page, and then it'll point out some of the areas that may have issues that are coming up. So if I start scan, it pinpointed exactly where there may be some errors happening. So if you click on it, it'll go to that error and show you where things are failing, which was that button that we already talked about. So now let's go into Unsplash. Unsplash, of course, is a good source if you are working with placing images into any of your designs. And so I have one of my designs here that I wanted to show you how you can go about using Unsplash. Actually, let me delete the image. I want an image of a heart right here, right? So now when I go into that Unsplash plugin, I can search around. Let me show you what that looks like. So there's a area that's an editorial area that already has like images here. Some presets. Say if you're not really being picky of needing to search for something, like if you're like, hey, I just need some plants, then you can click on plant and it'll generate right there. You can click on it as much as you need to kind of like replace it and find something that works better for you. So these are just generated areas. You can also do it randomly. But say if you want to search, then they also have the search area as well. And say we want that heart, we'll say it's this one. And if I want that heart, and now it's generated within there. So that's how you can go about adding those images in. Now we have those new images. You could also, sometimes they won't come in like how you would want them. So you can go into this crop area, which was, I clicked up here up top on your little crop button, and you can move the images around how you see fit and how it works for you. Same here for this one. Maybe I want both hands to kind of showcase. And yeah, so that's how you can utilize Unsplash to get your images in there without having to go and search the actual website itself. Let's go ahead and move forward with our next plugin, which is going to be our background remover. And we're going to take that same image and we're going to say, like, what about if you want an image, but you want it to be transparent in the background because you want to be able to change the color behind it. Then this is where this plugin comes into play, because it will remove that background and keep like the item in the forefront of what you're looking for. So here we are, we're back at the heart image here, and we're going to take that, we're going to do our right click, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to look for our plugin, which is this one. And it's going to have a little side selection menu here. We're going to click the remove background. So it's going to generate while it's doing that, as you can see. Alrighty, so now that that's finished generating, it removed the background, and now we got just a white background, which is awesome. And then you can change, you know, the color as you see fit, as you see here. There you go. And that's how you would utilize the background remover and where it could come into play in your designs. So I wanted to show you that. And now let's get into icons. This is a really good plugin for being able to find icons right here without having to, you know, go searching through the community or different things like that. So I wanted to go ahead and show you this. For this plugin, this is what you will see when you first open it up. And we have different areas that are kind of like their own kits of icons, and it's cool to work within one kit because then you can keep that consistency going of whether you're doing like outline versus filled, and it's kind of from the same style of the same person. So if we were to choose this one and we switch through their icons that they have, you can see that it kind of has the same style, same line weight. So it'll be easy to pick from in terms of searching their icons. You can also do it this way by viewing through a scroll, like a list, or you can do it this way. So wanted to show you that. And say we wanted to click one to bring out here, I'll just, you know, do these chevrons. We can also play around with the size that we choose to bring out. Say, you know, this one's already at 16, and then the coloring that it's at, we'll go ahead and put it down into our canvas area, and there it is. We can do, you know, a 24. We can import that, and we got a 24. We could do a 30, import it, and then now we have a 30, all of the same icon and then the same styling. So that's really cool there to be able to do that. You can also place it where you need, and you know what, let me go ahead and search for like a profile. So we'll say we want profile. Okay, so cool. Now we have this profile area to look at. We'll go with this one. It's probably not going to match my line weight, I can already tell, but that's fine. Maybe we'll go with a thinner line just because. You can click the area and to where that icon will go directly in there. As you see, here's our icon. It's at 30. Let's make it to 24 because I believe that's where mine are at. It's going through the parent layer where it would have been directly on the canvas, but now it's going to be in the nav bar underneath this particular tab within this item. And then so when we import it, there it is, it's on top. And then if you wanted to replace it, and then now you have a new one. Yeah, that's just one of the things that I wanted to highlight when it came to this plugin. It's really good to be able to find things, again, right here on the canvas. And one of the next plugins that I want to touch on is sticky notes. And I know this one's a little bit more simple. You may or may not need it or use it. But I wanted to bring this up because sticky notes is really good for, you know, whether you are leaving notes to yourself or if you're leaving notes for someone else that you're working alongside or working with or working for, so they're able to see different things. And of course, you know, you can leave comments on Figma itself, or you can even just make your own little sticky note. But this is just in case you want to have a plugin for it. I brought this screenshot in of a website. We're going to focus on the FAQ area. So let's say you're going to be doing like a handoff to the developers and you just want to leave some notes around. And so with that said, we're going to open up our plugin for sticky note. It's going to look like this. It'll have, like, you know, the solid 4 colors that you can choose from. And we'll just put some text in, like for our frequently asked questions, we can say, you know, accordion style, add a slight bounce. This may happen where like it made it extra small. You can just, that's too big. You can put a new text size on it. But yeah, and then, so now we have a note real quick that we put for devs to be able to look in there and see. And then that way, when they look at your note, they're like, okay, for the FAQ, they want, you know, the accordion style with multiples to open up. They left a link for us to look. Okay, they with multiples open. Okay, they want it like this. This is the style that they want. That's where these sticky notes could come into play. That's just one example of how to utilize them. Alrighty, so with sticky notes knocked out, let's go into the Autoflow. Okay, so for Autoflow, this can come into play in many different ways. It can come into play with your, say, your user flows, if you are doing something within your design, say if you want to showcase how, you know, in your wireframes where screens are supposed to go, if somebody is wanting to look through them. I utilize this personally in my, at my previous job. We were working on a canvas design and showing how users can like bring a item to the screen and then where it would connect and then the lines would connect for them. So I utilize this when creating that. Let's go ahead and click into the plugin, which is Autoflow. Alrighty, so when then you open up the plugin, you're going to see the menu for Autoflow, and you're going to have 2 areas, Autoflow, or the flows, and then the shapes. I haven't utilized the shapes yet myself, but I can talk more so about the flows. But with the flows, you pretty much get to go about seeing how you would want your arrow to be designed and then how it would connect to the next item that you built. So say I want this one to be connected to this one. I would have this item selected, and then I would hold down shift and then I would select my next item that I wanted to connect to. And then there it goes. It placed down the arrow for me. So you would be able to go ahead and move things around like so. And yeah, and then so when you click on it, when you click out of it, that same motion of being able to move things around is not going to work. You would need to have the plugin opened. So now that I'm back in it, it'll move it around and it'll follow it where it needs to go. And then when I click out of it, it will be stuck in place. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. But yeah, so that's how you can utilize these arrows here, just to be able to make different connections and shape things how you would want them to be. So wanted to show you Autoflows. Now let's move on to the next plugin, which is the Artboard Studio Mockups. So when you get into the mockup area of your design and you want to put something within a device, you will have your design ready, and we are going to go right into the Artboard Studio mockup. So let's do that. The add mockup item. One thing I do want to mention actually is I believe this one you need to have the API key. I wanted to touch on how to go about those kind of steps when they do pop up for certain plugins. So when you click up here to this plugins area and you say for this one, because I know it does use the API key, you'll probably get an on-screen, like an empty state of like, oh, sign in or get your secret API key, whatever the case may be, because I don't fully know. But if you need more details, what you can do is you can click it up here and you can go into this little breakdown area and it'll break down how to go about using it, and how and what to do to get the menu going on your Figma. Alrighty, so with that said, let's get into the studio mockups. So I like this one because it has a lot of free mockups that are unlocked. And how I go about looking at the free unlocked areas is right here through this drop down. It has a free items area, and these would bring up the ones that don't have the lock on them. You can also search for the device. Let me double check what device this is. We'll do iPhone 13. If we do iPhone 13, this one's iPhone 14 Pro, this one's iPhone 13. Okay, so this one's the iPhone 13 and the other ones were not. So really quick, I'm going to delete those other ones so they're not in the way. Now we're left with the mockup. We want to input our design within this frame because this frame is what's going to transition and translate into our mockup. Okay, so let me scooch this over so you can see. So this is my design. I'm going to move it into this frame. I'm gonna make sure everything's aligned good. So you want to select your frame and then you're going to render it. And then there you go. So now you have a mock-up of that screen, and it's in the iPhone 13. So that's really cool, and that's how you go about doing that. Okay, last but not least is the Lorem Ipsum text to put into wherever you need just fake text at, pretty much. Generally, you want to be able to still have real text in, but say if you're on a roll and you're not trying to worry about putting text in right now in this moment, but you're going to go back in, you're going to fill it in. I'm going to show you how to go about the text. So I have these two text areas. I just cleared them out. And we want to put in some of the fake text. So you're going to have that plugin. There's two ways you can do it. You can let them know like how much sentences, words, characters, how much you want to have in there, or you can just generate it and it'll go based off of like the size of your frame. So if we auto generate, there it goes, and then we got the text in there. And so now we have that, and then when you're ready to go back in to your design and implement, you know, some real content, you can do that. But this could just be like your placeholder for now until you get to that point. So yeah, that is all of our plugins that we're going to go through today. If you have any plugins that you want to share, definitely feel free to leave them down in the comments below. That way we could all just check out new things. And also leave down below what you would like to see from the channel as far as different things to continue to learn in regards to UX UI. And if you would like to stay tuned with that, please subscribe. Alrighty, have a good rest of your day.